It's awesome stuff that's happening.
You did awesome. You know, but look, I had problems on Sunday, and you're a volunteer, we had problems, and we got the curtains, we had that, so, now all I have to do is go home and buy one. Two or three.
You're kidding. Donald brought the projector for the Boston local community. I was like, well, we want to do this at this pub, a tavern, right? So we can have like the real
vibe.
The right vibe of like, we can drink, we can have some food, and we can have some really good technical conversation. And it worked really well, except they didn't tell us we should bring this free too, so they ended up hanging up. The bartender, the waiter, literally ran home across the street to get a white sheet. Then hung up, and it was kind of wrinkled, but I figured that it could create an added atmosphere, right? And what type of projector did you have? Did you have one too?
Well, that's what I had. I had one of those at home, so I could do that
Yeah.
in Michigan.
Yeah.
In Michigan was really cool.
Yeah, we're having the, on Tuesday, I finally sent out an email for like a talk about IETF outreach and how to do a local community. So one of the things,
Okay, you can have that.
sorry, yeah.
And
So one of the things that I'm doing is, I'm really
I think you know what I'm saying? I'm going out and buying. Till it works. I'm gonna go and rent one of those, because my husband's an AV person, I'll just say, I crash tested before I go. I'm sorry, I
No,
No, it's
Whoa.
absolutely, you know, there's generally a lot of things, much better not.
Most of the excellent doing stuff
Distribution.
in more developing countries. And that's great, but places that are well developed and.
We'll figure it out, we'll figure it out together.
As well. We really-
See you guys later.
So what we've been doing in Boston, I actually draft about this, of course, one does, right, you write draft.
And usually I bought video
It's like 10 years, where.
I threw in an
We asked
additional
folks to
slide.
do like a 10-15-minute tech talk, and then have a 15-20 minutes for conversation. We're getting about 20 people or so. What we find, because one of the challenges is energy.
I saw your list, but there was no
The
slide.
advantage
That
of
was,
these
those drafts were
is
not listed anywhere.
the idea
I did.
because they
I added a
have the
slide during
same
the day.
quality
This thing.
of precision. And
So,
it gives a low stress time when people aren't,
waiting for one person.
worried.
Think we
And they're trying to get their own missions accomplished. And it's also.
I guess I'll
cross area
take it for
learning
myself.
and get the generalist sort of perspective.
That
And
was,
so
this
we
was,
do cover
I
topics
basically
across
just
the
changed
board
it.
and just, and do that. So we've had, sometimes we have some amusing conver talks sometimes. And it's 2 or 3 hours, once in between IETF meetings. And that's all we're like people are trying on that, pull more people
I have
in.
been interviewed,
We have like,
interviewed,
I don't have a place.
there was a,
URL, so
poll,
you can send it to
a,
places. I did a poll, try and answer more, that's one of the things I'm looking for. But I'm also not social, I'm interested in giving it a try once. and
you
see.
can, and I found mine there, and I converted to, local time.
If that is the case.
But you can also just send mail to Peter
Yeah, we
Yee.
can do it, and I put it in the value list.
Well,
And
I'm not sure I can do about that, he should, he has his wife,
coordinators that are what-
and not necessarily.
and, find out what each other are doing and interact that way. And, different people have different locations.
Yeah.
But I think it's hard, but it's important.
Yes, you must be month to start.
So I've accomplished the slides today. I will get some dinner and some sleep, and then I will start on.
Yeah.
Sure.
One of those tricks is
Okay.
having something,
My whole.
I mean, what I was doing,
Yep.
one of the first tricks to say, here
I
comes
should,
an IETF-ish, is to have the feel of
See what
IETF.
things could be
Which-
more.
And also has to be something where if you want IETFers to come to it, they need to see value in it. And we've been doing this for a year and a half,
While we're reading.
and the IETFers come back.
Oh, John's
About 28
Yes.
or more, and we get,
That's in
15,
there.
16 of them, and it's several new people each time. So,
Oh, I
and
guess,
Bangalore is doing a RCC Love series where they meet periodically
yeah, I would
and talk about
think we should.
RCC. They love you.
Yes,
I
yes.
really have
So,
nothing to do, but, it's 5 past start time, so.
Reach out to them, actually, one of the IETF, I'm the lead for the IETF outreach. So,
Doesn't
and
matter.
I'm having a meeting on Tuesday lunch
That's a
in
young.
Orchard to talk about this stuff. Okay, thank you very much.
I think
You,
students. So I heard my students come.
I guess I should.
it's
take
hard,
this out.
yeah, we'll have a concert, but
I can
it's
probably do with one of them.
Folks,
in Africa.
should we start, or should we wait for Ming Lee?
So, anyway, I guess we'll just start. And, but I have two words you can write it in, read. I'm supposed to go ahead.
We were waiting for Ming Lee, but I don't know how much. Feng Wei, do you think Ming Lee's coming soon, or should we just start?
So I was in the.
Ask him if we should wait 2 minutes for him, or.
So like, we may as well all be in front of the room so we don't chat at each other.
Well,
This is gonna be a chat moment, so, and it'll be much more fun if you, enjoy the,
I've always been a backbencher, so it's kind of little unnerving to be in the front.
It's okay. I discovered the front's really great because of tables usually. But the other side is if I have to shout, I'll probably start coughing and that will disrupt the conversation.
Okay.
so we should we'll start with the administrivia. Is he gonna be here in a couple minutes? We'll go ahead then. So, welcome to Trill. Hi, John. Wave to John on the monitor. John Hudson's working on the monitor. Hi, John. Anyway, welcome to Trill. We'll go ahead. Donald is secretary and doing lots of our reviews for us. I'm Sue Harris. In case you're listening remotely on this recording later, go ahead. This is a note well, please read it. This working group's been really good about putting its IPR together. So thank you. Go ahead, next. We're in our last run to the finish line. So thank you all for reading the docs. Thank you, Feng Wei, for working hard. Please help with joint review. We've got how many documents, Donald?
We'll come to the list.
We'll come to the list. So guys, we got a lot to do to get to the finish line. Everything's about there. Much of this has gone through 2 or 3 revs, but we've got to push through to get through a whole bunch in 8 weeks. So take a deep breath. Now, Donald, our thing is agenda bashing status. Then we need to hear about the smart nodes because that's important, Feng Wei. And Donald's got group key. And those are 2 that we've got some technical moments to finish. And then we'll wrap up. Okay. Do you want to, we can do this in a tag team if you want to try that, or do you want to maybe keep reading? We have 2 RFCs. Thank goodness hi guys. Hi, it's hard to find this, isn't it? Come on up to the front.
Yeah, otherwise we have to yell, that's boring.
It's boring. We've had, this is our last sitting around the table, so I'd like to come on in and sit up in front. Don't be shy. We're gonna have a bit of fun. We have 2 RFCs published, the MTU, yes, and the ultimate for multi-level. And ARP optimization went today. Woohoo! I'm sorry, that's a really good one. Go ahead. We've got 2 in publications requested states, so Leah's got 2 new ones. And Donald and I've got 4 of these drafts where we've done Shepherd reports, and I bet Donald I can get them all done this week. So we'll see. I may have to pay up with beer later. That's address flush. These are all past working group last call. They just need Shepherd. So if you see anything like this, we'll need the smart end nodes discussion today, Fenway. I think the P2MP BP, didn't you release that today?
It was updated today because it was expiring.
Expiring.
Just it was updated.
But didn't you make some change
Oh,
to?
I guess it should have changed.
You changed the in with it, yeah, okay.
We need to go check with Pignataro.
But he did the changes, right?
Well, it would be good for the person who made the comments to confirm.
Oh,
that
yes.
The changes are there. They were very simple, but.
Oh, that's right. And I just gave that lecture to Alex earlier. So, to send to Carlos, hi, please confirm that, send a message to him saying, please, I made the changes, confirm that you like these. Because last time he confirmed and said, no, I didn't, so let's, they weren't there is what he said, yes. Did I miss anything else on the BFD? Okay, this is a tag team, don't. In working group last call, there's directory assisted in-caps, multi-topology, and transport over MPLS. So please send a comment in. I think we're about to close directory in-caps and multi-topology. Transport over MPLS just went in. So if you guys could remember just to look at it, write a little comment, then we'll get through that. I put in questions every time I put it, so just look at the questions and send them out. Okay, these are the drafts not listed above that we're going to go through in the next 8 weeks. So we've got the group king, the single nickname, the unique nickname. Donald's got a respin of Trill over IP. Aaliyah, we were going to take NAT out of that. That's a lot of the headache there. And we're not going to get done unless we defunction.
Okay.
Are we okay with that? That who gave us the excellent view?
Words?
Magnus Westland, yeah. So if we go through everything, we're not going to make it. So Donald suggested taking out NAT because that's a lot of complexity. And you can just say it won't work with NAT.
That's, I think that's all.
Just say it's out of scope for this document.
Just out of scope. If someone wants to attack it, they can write an individual. Parent selection and now the Trill Yang OEM, Aaliyah, just so that I've gone through it. Line went through. So I have to take the OEM, and since everything's got to be revised data store, this one's closer to revised data store, but then I've got to check with DPEC and how and so the Yangs will come in through as revised data stores. I'm just going to deprecate it and then revise like I did with BGP. Okay. That may mean that the Yang models come from me and actually authored by other people because the changes are pretty, yeah. Okay. What else did I miss, Donald? We talked through all of this.
I added the IDR draft.
Oh, yes. The IDR draft is in working group last call. You would all do me a big favor as the IDR chair if you would just sign on to IDR and say, I support this. Just get on the IDR mail list and say, I like this draft, we need it on the IDR list. No one's objected, but no one's really supported.
Yeah, I mean, you probably know, but basically this is to say you can transmit the Trill link state information in BGP. So, like useful for SDN and other kinds of things like that.
And there's a lot of link state information. So Okay, next one. We have two drafts that we've been talking about, but we sort of threaded after some of the security, group security and link security. We're gonna drop East Lake Trill link security, right, Donald?
Yeah.
And,
It needs a lot of work.
but the Trill data encoding and the vendor channel we talked about and split out from other drafts. So those are two, we were thinking because Donald had taken them out of the security to make it cleaner. Those we were going to try to adopt this next week and push through. You want to talk about
Yeah.
that?
Let's talk about them for a second. They're pretty mature. The vendor channel one is really just a simple way so that these arbage channel messages between arbages, just the way as a way where vendors can have their own, define their own by putting a vendor OUI in there. So I figure, you know, if Trill working group is not continued, then there's no, it's probably harder to get standardized things through, and it may be more beneficial to provide this escape valve where vendors, it's a very simple draft. The arbage data encoding is a little bit more complicated, but it's very mature, been around for a while. It's basically more efficient encoding on the wire. So I think that it's in pretty good shape. But I'm not sure about that. So that's, you know, of the two, I think the vendor channel is simpler and easier.
Is there support for things you're interested in?
It dates from quite a while ago, and at the time it was the chip vendors were saying that they didn't want to do it yet because they wanted to see how things were going with Trill and stuff. So as far as I know, it hasn't been implemented in hardware. So it would be to usefully do it for most applications. The Trill would involve fast path implementation. It's simple, but so I don't know.
So we need to have that discussion and either decide, you know.
We need to decide really quick either to do it or not. And, you know, I think we should try to go for adoption. If adoption fails, it's the way it is, you know.
I think there's a lot of work to get.
There's a lot of work to do.
Yes.
I understand your motivations for the vendor channel,
Yeah.
and that one makes a lot of sense to me. This one seems like it's more of a stretch if there aren't folks actually actively interested now.
Okay.
So,
So ask the working group if there's interest. If there's serious interest, then
okay, so we'll look and see if there's any serious interest. Donald, go back. Guys, I want to underscore that all of these 6 drafts that we are listing there have to go through in the next 6 weeks. So
I stepped down at the end of March. I expect not to close Trill right before I step down. I expect to have closed it either before next IETF or during the next IETF.
So,
And I do not have agreement from my current co-ADs to AD sponsor any work.
so we need to get this stuff through. So from now to the end of December, is that 6 weeks? 6 or 6 weeks is the best way to get all of this done so that we can go ahead and then spend January and February getting it through this ISG. So we really need to have, you know, go home, tell the folks, we really need to have enough. When we do the calls, it's not like we've done it in the past. It'll be 2 weeks, and if we don't get enough, we'll have to go on without it. And because Aaliyah's got a, if you go back to what I have, one more, no other way, I'm sorry, my bad. All the ones that are in working group last call, and that Aaliyah's got 7 of these that she could already have going forward, and then we're going to add another 6. That's a real lot for her to get through. So we've got to push these working group calls. So,
Yes, some of the documents I did reviews back in June, and they sat. Like, it just got updated in October, and I know some, but we can't, that's not gonna work. If these things, if I do a review and it takes a month the document's not progressing unless you're convinced one of the next ADs to sponsor it.
And that's small. So folks, Donald and I are probably gonna send you lots of notes like, please review and answer. We got ARP optimization. Yay. I'm sorry. That's a cheer for all the hard work that you put in. So folks, we really have 6 weeks and a lot of this last call for directory and CAP assistant and multi-topology will probably close this week. Transport is 2 weeks, and then we have 6 weeks for, go ahead. But we have 6 weeks for all these other documents. So we have 6 documents. So we'll probably do probably groups of 3. The only thing that may hang over into January is the Yang documents, and that's because, Aaliyah, I don't know if I can get stuff, and they'll probably okay with that. Okay, that's, can you think?
There's a difference between it takes time to do the work and I can't be bothered to reply to your reviews.
That's it. Yang has got some problems, but okay. Okay, that's it, Donald. Then I think we're on to the next one.
So do we, that would be one of those.
So in this one, Fengwei, I really need to know what, well, we'll go through the slide and then I have other questions. Okay. Yeah, it's resolving the last comments, so that's.
Okay. So this draft is about Trill Smart End Node. So we update the draft to version to version 06 with the help of Downend. Okay, next. That's all.
Need to, because put it in here. So we can.
It doesn't read minds.
Okay. So the motivation for Smart End Node is that
Yeah.
save end node leading table space in the Azure upgrades, and the second is quickly refresh the end node table, and it also supports fine grained neighbor aware and station. So this is the motivation for the Smart End Node. And history, we have presented the Smart End Node draft in the IETF. Okay, so many IETF meeting. So from 18.6, 18.8, and 19.1, and 19.4, 19.5, and 98 meeting. So the draft was adopted as a work group draft in December 2014, not 12, yeah, it's 2014. So it is 3 years since it has been adopted. So the current status is waiting for write-up. Okay, so here is the changes from the last presentation. The first one is that we clarify that smart handle is a type of Trill ESIS protocol other than Trill handle. Because the Trill handle has limited capacity and cannot generally be fragmented, and Trill ESIS is usually used between the nodes and the average. So we move the content of the Trill handle related, and we clarify that the smart handle is a type of Trill ESIS protocol. So this is based on the RFC 8171.
Let me go back to that one.
Okay.
One.
Oh, sorry.
No, yeah, you're
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
One more. I thought there was one more back. Go to page 3. Nope, that's fine. You're on the
Yeah.
right page. Go to page 4. please. Slide 4.
This one?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That was a good clarification that was needed in the draft. Thank you very much. That's one of the ones we needed. And that's good.
Okay.
That's a good clarification. Thank you. That was one of the comments that one of the reviewers had. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So next, the second change that we clarify that only the pull directory method is available, and the push directory is not supported for the smart node to populate the MAC address, nickname, date, neighbor entries. So this is the
Again, that was one.
This is a second clarification. So the reason is that the smart node station cannot support the ISADI and cannot send the ISADI LSP. So if we use the push directory, there is some security issue and unreadability issue for the node to deal with the ISADI message. So we think the smart node only support pull directory.
Excellent. This was another one we needed to see.
Yeah. So next, we clearly specify that the multi-entries solution to solve the microflip issue in the multi-homing scenario.
And that was the third issue.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. So the other change is that we added the Trill ESS to the terminology section.
Excellent.
Okay. So
Wonderful.
yeah. So this is the changes for the version 6.
I think we're ready. Let me ask you 3 questions.
Okay.
Have you gone through all the reviewers' comments and responded to them
Ann's comment or Dom?
on
Dom
the?
and I think we have solved
You've solved them, like Mingwei, when we said to Mingwei, you need to respond to Carlos with the comments. Did you go back to the original commenter now that you've released that and say, I fixed it, please please tell me
Okay,
that you agree to the fix?
Okay. Yeah. I think Ann's comment was printed out
Yes.
last year or something. I have sent the email to him after we updated
This is her,
the draft version to version 04 or 03. So
Right.
yeah.
But there was one other commenter, I thought. But
Another comment is from
I'll double check for you.
Oh.
That's okay.
Okay.
I will double check. We just need to double check on that. This week, today, tomorrow, we should double check on that
Okay.
so that we've sent it back because you've done what we asked you last time. Thank you. That was really good. I don't recall anything else. No, I think good job.
Thank you.
Really good job. You answered everything. You did a thorough job. Really
Okay.
pleased. That's it. Thank you. We'll push for I'm going to do all the checks and then we'll push for publication.
Okay. Thank you.
So Leah, another one on your, hey,
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving? Oh, we'll give you a stack of papers for the way home, right? Okay.
So I'm going to talk about the group keying draft, which is a working group draft, and what needs to be done to finish things up there. So just to go over a little bit what it does. So still, Trill standardizes communication protocols that need security services sometimes, encryption, authentication. And for those to work, you need to get keys distributed to the places. So, and particularly to meet modern security standards, the keys need to be periodically renegotiated or refreshed. You need some form of dynamic keying scheme. I mean, you can also support fixed keys, but it's not, if that's all you support, you don't really meet modern criterion. So most of the existing Trills, all the existing Trill security is unicast. So it's got stuff so you can secure things point to point. The Trill over IP draft uses IPsec, the IQV2, and there's also these Arbage channel messages, which are control messages that are not ISIS. They're ISIS has its own security features, which are also, of course, available to Trill. But the Arbage control channel messages are a different kind of thing, which actually look like data messages, but are actually control messages. So those use DTLS, and that's all fine. But the thing is that both of these could be multicast. You could have Arbage channel messages that are sent to all the stations in a VLAN. You can have Trill data, which is multicast data. And so if you have an IP network that supports native multicast and you're doing Trill over IP in that network, you'd want to use that. So that would mean some way to kind of secure these messages in a multicast group. So these are just a list of the ways you can do this sort of thing. You can always serially unicast. So if you have point-to-point security, you can just use a bunch of point-to-point links and send, if there's 100 things in the group, you can send 100 copies. Well, that's not really necessarily too great from an efficiency point of view. You can distribute a shared secret to the group. So that's pretty efficient, because now you can just send it once using the underlying multicast data distribution, but using this group key to secure it. There is the problem that other members of the group can generally forge the source address. So that doesn't include originator authentication if you use a shared group key. You can use public key cryptography, which will let you solve that problem, but it's very inefficient, like orders of magnitude more inefficient than the shared group key. And there's even more exotic things you might be able to do, but are pretty complicated. So the idea is in this draft is to use the approach 2, a shared secret key. So somehow you have to get the shared secret key distributed to the members of the group so they all have it. And if there's a case where there are some messages where the fact that any member of the group could forge a message showing a source address of any other member, so you don't have like originator authentication, in those are fairly rare cases, I think. And in those cases, you can still always fall back to doing serial unicast. If you do serial unicast with the point-to-point security, and you don't have any question, because if you receive something securely over a point-to-point channel, it must have come from the other end. So you know where the origin was. So the existing draft supplies a generic way to distribute keys to a group, and it assumes that it'll be profiled for any particular use. The profiling mostly includes how to determine which is the designated member of the group that's sending out the keys and controlling the keying for the group at any particular time, and also the envelope. So the generic group keying protocol in here does not really specify any envelope. So you need to, it's like a BFD message, which you need to specify how it's enveloped and addressed for a particular use. So there are 2 profiles in the current draft, one for the Arbage channel message case and one for the Trill over IP case. So it uses the pairwise keying that's in place to do secure distribution of the group key. Assumes you do have pairwise security in place. And yeah, that's pretty much what it does. So you can distribute a group key, and it can be in use, and you can distribute the next generation of group key, and then after you've gotten it distributed to all the stations, you can then send out a message telling them to switch to using the newer key. So you don't have to, you can kind of minimize the problem of a period of time when you don't have a valid group key out there. It also, in the case where you don't have a valid group key for any reason, you can always fall back to serial unicast, even though it's not very efficient. So this group keying thing is really just about keying. The actual data format is a different question. So for the Trill over IP, it uses the IPsec data format, enveloping and stuff, and for the Arbage channel case, it uses the DTLS data format. So this is an example. There's a designated node distributing key to other group members. This is what the generic messages look like. There's some sort of native point-to-point security envelope around the whole thing. There's a minimum amount of headers outside. Then uses a key wrap and has the actual keying material and stuff inside this inner key wrap. So proposed changes. One is to split it into two drafts. So the generic group keying mechanism would be in a separate draft that just covers that, and the Trill specific profiling would be in a separate draft. So there's two drafts. And the only change to the generic group keying mechanism is proposed is to add agility for the key wrap algorithm. Currently uses AES key wrap. There may be other group key wraps algorithms in the future. It has algorithm agility for other things, but not for the actual key wrap algorithm currently. So I think that would be make it more acceptable to security people. And the profiling is complete for the Arbor channel case. The Trill over IP needs a little bit more work. So let's finish that up. So those are the proposed changes to the draft. This is actually more detail about the splitting into two drafts. Doing that should make security review easier. Security people won't be tripping over this Trill specific stuff they may not know that much about. And if there's any update needed to either part, it should be easier. I actually, I think it's likely there will be a Cha-Cha key wrap draft written very soon, so there will be an alternative to AES, because Cha-Cha is more efficient in software, so if you don't have hardware AES support, there's a good reason to have an alternative. As I complete the Trill over IP profiling. So anyway, so our plan is to, unless there's some objection in the room here, just post a message if anybody objects to these things, and assuming there's any objection, do it. And
So my hope,
Yep.
I'd like to sort of close off on that issue. If you could send that request today.
Yep.
And then if we could have just a 2 or 3 day, just a day.
Oh, sure.
rejection,
I think you should wait maybe 48 hours or something.
48 hours.
Yeah.
30, end of the week. But then if you could make those changes and we could start again.
Yep.
Things down on this working 6 weeks of working group last calls. Hopefully we'll get everything through. Aaliyah's got a lot of reading, and this is a lot of work.
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify, because I'm happy to push these drafts through. I don't want you to think that I am saying I haven't asked other ideas to 80 sponsor documents that are left, because I don't think that the work is worthwhile. It's the reason that I'm doing this push is because I feel that the working group does not have the energy that a lot of these documents are there. We've been pushing a number of documents through in the last couple of years, but we need to just get these done. I don't think that having more time would cause them to be better, or to have more energy for them to be completed. I feel that what's really needed is the deadline. It's not an estimation of the quality or the amount of work that you all have put in. I really do appreciate that. So I just want to be clear, this isn't unhappiness. The quality of the documents that have been coming through is excellent. And I do usually have very few specific AD comments. I mean, sometimes I catch stuff, but the key message is it's good work, but a lot of it just needs to get finished because of the stage where the working group is and the size and energy in the room. So I just wanted to clarify that, I really do appreciate the work you're doing. And my push is to make sure that we capture all of that effort and energy and good ideas that are needed. Thank you.
Okay, and I think that's the end of things. Again, we could really use help all the people get through the drafts. I counted 10 or so drafts after we added 2, so that we're trying to get all these through to RFC. Did I count 10 with the group splitting? 9. Okay, I miscounted one. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you very much for all the hard work. Thank you for all the smart EndNodes work and the ARP optimization work. It's really good. Donald, did we have another one that was?
The bushy out there somewhere? Oh, yeah? I guess we just pick it up anytime.
Okay, so Donald, my goal is to get through the Shepherd reports. I think you've gotten everything tied up on those. And, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna just send